from the depths of the sea, from the heights of the heaven, your name be praised. From the hearts of the weak, from the shouts of the strong, from the lips of all people, this song we raise on throughout the endless ages. You will be crowned with praises, Lord Most High, exalted in every nation, sovereign of all creation, Lord Most High, be magnified. From the ends of the earth, from the depths of the sea, from the heights of the heaven, your name be praised. From the hearts of the weak, from the shouts of the strong, from the lips of all people, this song we raise, Lord, throughout the endless ages. You will be crowned with praises, Lord Most High, Most High. Exalted in every nation, you're the sovereign of all creation, Lord Most High, be magnified. Throughout the endless ages, you will be crowned with praises, Lord Most High. Exalted in every nation, sovereign of all creation, Lord Most High, be magnified, Lord. From the hearts of the weak, from the shouts of the strong, from the lips of all people, this song we
See my hands and look at my feet. It's okay if it's hard to believe. I have faith that you will do greater things. It's my time to go, but before I leave, go tell the world about me. I was dead, but now I live. I've gotta go now for a little while, but goodbye is not the end. Don't forget the things that I taught you. I've conquered death and I hold the keys. Where I go, you'll go too someday. But there's much to do here before you leave. So go tell the world about me. I was dead, but now I live. I've gotta go now for a little while, but goodbye is not the end. Don't forget the things that I taught you. I've conquered death and I hold the keys. Where I go, you'll go too someday. But there's much to do here before you leave. So go tell the world about me. I was dead, but now I live. journey, the end of the road. My spirit is with you wherever you go. You have a purpose and I have a plan. I'll make you this promise, I'll come back again. But until then, go tell the world about me. For I was dead, but now I live. Oh, I've gotta go now for a little while. Hey, but goodbye is not the end. Oh, go tell them about me. I gotta go for a little while, but goodbye is not the end.
We have had the tremendous honor of spending 2 weeks back in Guinea-Bissau. This has been a mission that is almost approaching, next year will be a decade that I've been going to Guinea-Bissau and sharing the gospel there. It is also a place where we have watched the gospel transform lives in ways that's just not describable with pictures or even words. It's truly, to understand it, you have to be there. You have to get your feet a little soiled with the clay dust. You have to hold a lot of kids. You have to talk to a lot of people. And over the last 9 years, we've watched the goodness of God come into a land. When I first arrived in Guinea-Bissau, we were coming in, I think I shared this a couple weeks ago before we left. We came into a place that was so filled with oppression, with demonism, with hatred, with poverty, that the poverty seemed to overtake the hope that comes along with trying to think if I can sacrifice enough goats, or I can give enough to the gods, or I can worship the witch doctors enough. And that poverty just seems to bury the hope. And it's hard to describe, other than there was a resolve that this was as good as it's going to get. And we came there, and I went there not because I answered the call, not because I thought that somehow Western values were going to improve the life. It's not it at all. There's not enough money in the world to help bring joy into a heart. It's temporary. It's futile. But the joy that comes with the gospel, the joy that comes with knowing that the God of all creations, who made heaven and earth and made every heart and soul that is there in that land, and to come to that realization that he loves every single child that he made. So much so that he sent his son to die for them on the cross. That's transformative. That's something that can't be all the innovation, all the modern innovation or anything can't bring that. And so we sought to build a school. We built an elementary school. And out of that elementary school, we saw a village changed. Again, the elementary school was an agent. The gospel was what brought the change. And over the last 9 years, I've watched a place still very much in poverty, still very much in a struggle. But their hope is different now. Their hope is completely changed. Because their hope is not in whether they can achieve some kind of modern society. That's fleeting, that's temporary, that's fragile. Their hope is in the God that loves them. And it has completely transformed how things are viewed in Kita. And we're witnessing this in a nation. We're witnessing this happen in a nation that was the 5th worst nation in the world to live. We're witnessing this in a nation that had one of the highest infant mortality rates in the world. We're witnessing this in a nation that had a life expectancy when I first went there to live 47 years. I'm 53. That's enough, Paul. Because behind you there are people that exceed 53. But think about this. Lift your hand if you are under 47 years old. Look around you. You look around you now, and the people that do not have their hands up would not be alive today in Guinea-Bissau. Today, that life expectancy is 52. Today, the infant mortality rate is better. It's still the human development index is still among the lowest in the world. It's 175th out of 190 nations. But it's changing. It's transforming. And what we see the most, as I've walked in these places, I've preached in many regions, many churches, and what I've witnessed is a younger generation. I want you to hear these words, because I'm going to close out with this too. The younger generation is grabbing a hold of the understanding that it is God that's going to change them. And we are watching this young generation becoming ablaze with the Holy Spirit, with the knowledge of God, with the Word of God. There's a hunger and there's a hope in God. It's not in government. It's not in medicine. It's not in wealth. It's not in anything. Some trust in horses. Some trust in chariots. But the younger generation coming up in Guinea-Bissau is saying, we trust in the name of the Lord our God. Amen. And it's beautiful. And to have just a small part of this it's inspiring. It's humbling. So we went, and I'm going to invite the team up here in a minute. You'd be surprised, maybe I do have a prophecy update. There might be something happening. So we went not really knowing what God was laying before us, because the team got parsed out. I felt like I was Gideon. I mean, the team was getting parsed out. The plans were being shifted, and we were going on a little bit of a wing and a prayer, not knowing what God was going to do. But boy, did God show up in some amazing ways, and the team is going to share with you a lot of those ways and how God's touched them. But we went, and what we set out to do, number one, was we needed to start laying groundwork. And we'll talk about the groundwork here in a minute. We needed to continue to build relationships. You see, there's that old saying that says people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And relationship, listen to me, friends, relationship is just as imperative as teaching the gospel. building relationship, building trust, building connectivity, building a foundation that when you stand on it, people trust you, people respect you, people honor what you're doing, not just because you show up and say, "Thus saith the Lord." And a lot of times we miss this option or this aspect in sharing the gospel. We miss this aspect in ministry. As Americans, we're very utilitarian. We are. It's like, give me a task and I'll get it done, right? But if you skip the relational aspect of the task, you've only accomplished a task. When you've built relationship, when you've built trust, when you've built hope, when you've built something that extends beyond just words you're saying or stuff you're bringing, but there's a relationship connected to all that, then it mushrooms, it flowers into something more. And that's why these trips are so important. Even though sometimes we don't accomplish, we don't go and we don't build something, or we don't do or handle something the way we're used to as we think of mission trips. Having that connectivity, having that relationship is foundational. And going back year after year after year, multiple times a year, is just as important as going, as doing. As, if we just send stuff, if we just throw money at something like we think we, as Americans, we like to do a lot of times, let's just throw some money at it and it'll fix it. And so that's the mentality that comes behind, well, why do you go? Why not use the money you use for plane tickets and all that and just send it to the people? Because you lose the personal. You lose the connection. This thing is really ringing and it's really distracting. You lose that connection. You lose that when someone picks up one of those dresses, and when someone kicks the soccer ball or uses the jump rope or reads the book or any number of those things, they begin to, the memory of the person that gave it to them or the people that have delivered them or how that all is working becomes so much more important. Think of it this way. Years ago, when you were just a little boy or girl, you got this stuffed animal for Christmas. Now let's say it shows up in a box. There's no name, there's no connection to it. There's just a box, and you open the box and you pull out the teddy bear and you think, oh, what a nice teddy bear. And it sits on your bed, so on and so forth. But there's never an understanding of where it came from. It's just there. Doesn't mean it's not important. It just means it's just there. But now, take that same situation, and that box is handed to you by your grandma. And she's sitting there, and you open it up, and you pull the stuffed animal out, and you look at this stuffed animal, and you look at your grandma, and you just hug your grandma, and the stuffed animal's getting squished between you and your grandma. And she just says, oh, I just love you so much. And you take that stuffed animal now, and it has more meaning. Not because it's any better than the other stuffed animal in the box, but because it's connected to a relationship. That's why we go. That's why we just don't send money, send stuff. When it's connected to the people of Crossway, and they know who we are, and they know how much we love them and we care, now it becomes more valuable. So we're going to talk a little bit today about this trip. And you're going to hear a lot of good testimony and information. And then I'm going to lay out before you what's coming up. All right, so I'm going to invite the other members of our team to come up at this time. We want to welcome Keith and Melanie Whitmer, Kara Burhans, and we're going to talk a little bit about our time in Africa. While they're coming up, I want to talk to you about, relationships. These are church leaders that we were working with this week. The guy on the end there in the blue shirt's a very interesting man. I met him a few years ago when we were there. His name is Fernando. He works in a number of different capacities. One of the main ways he works is he works at the WEP mission there in Guinea-Bissau, one of the oldest missions that is at work. He has been working on translating the Bible into Papel. So if you know a little bit about what the work we're doing, we are working among the Papel. And so to have a partnership with someone who is also invested in the language translation of the Bible, that's Ferdinand. The next few guys are all pastors and elders in the church. The guy on the end there, way at the end there, across from Keith, that is the pastor of the church in Safim. You're going to see or have seen pictures of us in a bamboo church. That's where the church of Safim is right now. They're working on completing their building, and they've been working on that, I think, since 2014 is what they said. So, talk about building up brick by brick. They've been doing that for a while. This is your team. That's our turtle friend that was along the street. We decided we needed to get some pictures with. We need to look like tourists.
The only ones there.
But this was towards the end of our trip, and these three people worked very hard to go along with the changes, to shift, to just, when God opened up a door, it was time to go. We went, we did. When God changed plans, we stopped, we shifted gears, we went. Sometimes it was downtime, just waiting around, walking laps around the house compound that we were living at or whatever. But this is what mission work is about. When you go with an idea, you go with a little bit of a plan, but a lot of times God shifts those plans on a heartbeat. And sometimes you're ready to go do something and God says, wait. And sometimes you're ready to just go wait and God says it's time to go. That's how we operate. And the more we get used to that, the better it seems to go. Here's our school. This is the school we built several years ago. We completed it in 2022. We started it in 2018, and we raised money. We sent money over to build bricks, to blocks, and so on. But we're investing in the future. These are teachers and students that we had a good conversation with, talking about that future, and we're looking into what the next generation in Guinea-Bissau is going to be. That's really our focus. What the next generation in Guinea-Bissau is going to be. And so, as you heard me say a few weeks ago before we left, it's time to build the high school. This is why. The high school is the next phase in what we need to do. And the ones in the front, most of the ones in the front, the guy in the yellow is beside me is the coach. I think also like a fourth grade teacher or something like that. But but the other ones there, a lot of them are students. They're preteens or early teens, and all of them said unanimously, the high school would change their lives because it gives them a next step forward. Right now, when you go to school in Kita, you go through maybe the 6th grade if you're lucky. Their grading system is a little different than ours. It's not by how many years you're in school. It's how you complete the curriculum. So you could be 10 years old, and this is your first year in school. You go into the 1st grade, okay? So, and then you have to work your way through the curriculum to go to advance in the grades. But they're hungry for this. They know this is what they need next. Supplies, guys, this church never ceases to amaze me. I want to tell you something. God has so richly blessed you. And God has so richly blessed the work that we're doing because of you. We came up with a list about a month before we left. We said we needed some soccer supplies. We needed jerseys. We needed jump ropes. We needed balls. We needed frisbee. I mean, and everything, whistles. Everything we needed. Chalk. We got enough chalk to last us till the next time we get there. But, I mean, everything we asked for, you guys delivered and more. They were so tremendously overwhelmed by your love. And so the last day we were there, that Friday we showed up, they had this big kind of field day. They had all the games. You probably saw the pictures. They were doing jump ropes. They were playing football. They were playing frisbee. Keith and I, hula hoops, and so on. But this is a big deal for this church. We're not a big church. I mean, and last I checked, none of us are like busting at the seams with money. So, but you guys gave sacrificially. You guys gave because you saw the need and because we asked. And that is a big, that's important to us because it says to us you have confidence in the work we're doing over there in Guinea-Bissau. And so there you go. There's all the stuff packed up in bags. We loaded up my truck about as full as it could get. I don't have a picture of the... That was a good picture of the back of my truck as we're going down 70 with all these suitcases hanging out the back. And then Scott and Danette brought a bunch of them too and met us at the airport. And we rolled all those things. We got a guy, what was his name? George or something like John, George, Kevin, something. Brian. It was Brian. Thank you. Every person we meet is an important part of what we're doing. Even the porter at the airport. They're an important part, and we invest in them. We talk to them. We love them. We share with them. And so they had a hand in getting this stuff to Guinea-Bissau. And knock on wood, every bag showed up. And you saw the pictures of the kids. You saw the pictures of the kids playing with the equipment. And the coach is extremely excited about the football. So here we are, and we have arrived, and we're loading the Bronco up. It's getting a little beat up now. It's getting a little ragged, but it's still running, and we're getting that loaded up and getting over to the house. So thank you for investing. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for just answering the call. And but this is the heart of my message this morning. We got invited to show up. It was carnival season. Carnival. It's kind of like Mardi Gras, except it's bigger. It's citywide, countrywide, and everything shuts down for carnival, even churches. So we're going into conferences to preach, and there's just a small group of people that are showing up. And so that's kind of like a little deflating because it's like we put all this work into getting people invited and getting people in there. And the response wasn't as big because of Carnival, because a lot of the churches, they go hide during Carnival. Okay. If we had Mardi Gras outside our door, we'd all hide somewhere. Anyway, but this church is a church there in Bissau, and Pastor Nemo is his name, and he had probably 700, 800 people. Sounds like a good number, and most of them were young people. And there's a video, if you look online, there's a video of everybody running around dancing, singing Hosanna, and they're waving branches and so on. This was at this place. The generation is hungry for God. And you can see them. This is the young generation coming. They're studying. They're hungry. they're excited about what's about to happen in Guinea-Bissau because they know that the ball is being passed into their hands. And as the ball is being transferred to them, they know that they need the Lord. They know they need the gospel to do it. And that's what's happening. So that's what we want to see in Guinea-Bissau. That's what we're getting ready to see in Guinea-Bissau. Kara, I think you're up. Oh, never, wait a minute. I found this one of Jeff from years ago. We're getting ready to build a high school. We're going to do it. God's going to do it through us. We're going to have to work on figuring out raising funds. We'll do a special missions offering come close to the fall. But then we have to get people over there to help build it.
Looks like Jeff's experienced.
Jeff is experienced. I think Jeff might go. And maybe the entire Meek family might go and get over there. But you know what it's like getting over there and spending days building in the hot African sun, setting up all this stuff. We've got some challenges ahead of time, so we've got to commit this thing to prayer right now and begin to pray that God would raise up people, generation, donors, rich uncles, corporate sponsors, whatever it takes to build this school. And we're getting plans together now. We're getting things together now so that by the fall time we can say, okay, we've got things together to begin this endeavor. But this was the school in 2018 when we started building it. And this is an ongoing thing. We're going to add on a high school. It's going to be 4 or 5 more classrooms plus an assembly building. So this is going to continue the transformation that God set forth in this village. Yeah, when I first came there in 2017, it was, you could cut it with a knife. Right, Danette? She remembers what it was like. You were on the first trip too, weren't you? You were on that second trip. So it's challenging, but it'll change people that go, and it'll change the people that are there. Okay. Now, Kara, it's your turn. We need a microphone.
I have one.
I'll be quiet.
I have one, but it's not. Well, it's on. One.
Number 1.
How about now? Thanks, Phoenix. So we did not coordinate our talk, so I might step over some of the things that Pastor Brad already shared. And, in the Bible, it emphasizes how precious children are and that they're a precious gift from God and that we are to teach them and we are to protect them and we are to love them. And that's the foundation of Crossbay's work with El Shaddai School in Kita. And our visits there hold some of our most cherished memories of when we're able to go to Guinea-Bissau. I was thinking this morning about how Jesus would say, "Let the little children come to me." And I'm pretty sure it was because he loved being mobbed by them. And that's what happens when we go there. They mob us, and it's the best feeling ever. We're just swarms of thriving children, delighted to see us, as delighted as we are to see them. And as you'll see in the photos, there was no shortage of smiles, and Pastor Brad got to see his beloved Maria. And I can assure you that our involvement there truly matters. There's evident and continued growth in these children just in the 4 years that I've been. And they're markedly different. And as Pastor Brad said, they have hope. Oh my gosh, she was a mess. They have hope and they're thriving, largely because of your faithful prayers and support. So thank you. We did try something a little bit different this year when it came to handing out things and dresses. Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. That's a missing beatitude. And I'm not sure we'll do it that way again, but I can assure you the kids loved it. And as you can see, princess dresses were a huge hit. We made sure to get lots of photos with them in their princess dresses this year. With the girls delighted to have these special gifts of love. We visited classrooms. Pastor Brad spoke in the courtyard, and I think there was a photo of that in the slides. And we spent meaningful time engaging with them and speaking with students, as well as Charlize, the principal, about current needs and also future plans. As PB said, the donated sporting equipment was a huge blessing. We were able to visit on Friday and basically had field day. And Melanie led a free Frisbee clinic because they didn't know what a Frisbee was or how to use it. So that made things interesting. Yes, go Melanie. And it was better her than me for sure, right, Dad? And we wrapped up our time together with a puppet show in the grove of cashew trees, which it wasn't planned that way, but certainly having shade is advantageous, and it was the perfect setting. This is us gathering more information on kiddos for sponsorship. I'll talk about that in a second. But Pastor Brad said he spent some time with the older students and later with Charlize doing some interviews about what the school has meant to their lives. And it was abundantly clear, as he shared, that a secondary school is the next step. Continuing their education will help strengthen the community, increase sustainability, and provide real hope for their futures. So please do join us in praying for future mission teams moving forward, that God will knit those teams together with the right workers for his field in Qatar and open the doors to build that secondary school. Also, my small but shameless plug for sponsorship. Many children are still in need of sponsors. There are many more children there now. So if you're interested in sponsoring, it's $44 a month and covers all their basic needs, health, schooling, and otherwise. So see me or another member of the team if you'd like to know more about that. Lastly, for my little spiel, and I have a second slide deck for this part, I think. Brad asked me to share one story of impact, a moment when God showed up in a powerful way. Well, God was there the whole time in a powerful way, but there was one story that instantly came to mind, and it bridges into something that he already shared. The photo of him where there's a canopy and he and Lawless are in front of the group of people in the church that he was talking about that shut down, that met during Carnival. Here we go. So on this day, Lawless took us there. It was just tons of Christians, and we walk in and they are just swirling around with the palm leaves and they're dancing, and you can see it's a little dusty. That's probably after they sprayed some water. Never on my weather app in the United States has it said, what was it? It said that one day, extreme dust warning. There were days where you couldn't see the sun. You knew it was there because it was just so dusty. This was one of those days, but it didn't matter. They're kicking up the dirt everywhere. So they had gathered at the school. They had set up, it was a church and a school, and there were tents set up in the classroom. So these Christians had gone there to gather for the duration of Carnival to worship together. And when we arrived, they're singing, they're running in circles and dancing. And so, of course, we joined in. I don't think we have pictures of us joining in, which is probably okay. But God was definitely present. And when it came time for Pastor Brad to share his message, you saw the photos of them. If you can just advance those slides, because I don't have an advancer thing. Their thirst for the word, as Pastor Brad said, was unmistakable. And at one point, I felt something brush past me, and I can assure you it wasn't the wind, because there was no wind. It was a sacred and undeniable moment. And there was so much love in that place.
It was the joy of the Lord.
It was amazing. We didn't want to leave. I cried when I left because I just didn't want to go. It was awesome to be with people who were so thirsty for the word, and they were mostly young people, and to sit there and not want to leave, but to know that I would see their souls again, if not here in glory. Was just, and this guy, the whole time he was just writing and taking notes. He was so thirsty. PB referred to the younger generation, and this was them, and they're on fire. There were, so I think, just knowing we're going to worship together with them in God's presence and glory was awesome. So thank you for being part of this work, for your continued support, your generosity, and your prayers. And I'm turning it over to Keith.
So do I advance the slide or do this?
We'll go back to
Okay. Somebody's advancing the slides for me. Great. Well, this is the first picture I took. We're going to the first church to present our teaching. Now, this is the street going there. Now, if you see, there's commerce on either side. So there is commerce. They're living. They're doing business. They're surviving. They're eking out a living here. But as I thought about this, could this have been the way the beginning of our country was? Could it have been like this? Dusty, dirty, muddy, gritty. So they're growing. Now, where we go in Katai to the school, it doesn't have this type of an economic base. It's much poorer than this one. But I feel with the training they're getting from the school, especially the Christian faith that they're getting, their society could actually exceed this one, I think, in a short time. I mean, Brad asked me to speak of what I see, and I kind of see that happening. I see the groups of kids in these schools as they're being trained how to do things, math, English, hopefully trades as well, that they could live better than this even. But if not better than this economically, better than this spiritually. So go to the next slide, would you please? So we're going to this. This is the church we were headed to. And this is a fairly well maintained and established church. Again, like Brad said, we didn't have many people attend because of Carnival. And there is some, the fact that we're not known to the pastors there, they're not certain if they want to have their congregation join what we teach. So in what Lawless has done over the last couple of years that we've been teaching, he is moving us around through the city to different areas so they can become familiar with us and understand that we're not trying to take their congregation or try to teach them something unscriptural. Hopefully, we'll be able to enter these areas again and have a better reception. Again, Carnival played a part of that. So there were people that didn't come because of Carnival. Now, this is the bamboo church we went to. So the roads, the church is not as well established and it isn't. Well, we got dirt floors, tin roof, bamboo walls, but these people are still worshiping, right? And here's a dynamic duo here. These two fellas, Pastor Brad and Pastor Lawless, have become an inseparable team when they're over there in Guinea-Bissau, and they're powerful. Yeah. They know each other. They know each other's body language and verbiage, so that Lawless can interpret exactly what Brad wants to do. Both these churches, and you see, they want to worship. They do worship. They are loud and proud of the gospel. Very much so. In fact, we wear earplugs a lot of times when we first go in. But both these churches spoke that they needed more teaching, how prophecy is lining up with Scripture. They apparently don't have the news feeds that we have and the base of teachers that can reveal what Scripture tells about prophetic events and how they relate to what's going on in the world. So in our meal at the one table that Brad had showed in the first picture, they were relaying that to us. We need that information. We don't have access to that type of information. And actually, quite honestly, I see many churches in this country that don't have that. that scripture, that prophecy, relating it to what you see going on in the world will build your faith in the scriptures. The Isaiah 46 that Brad put up on the screen, where God is telling Israel, this is how you know I'm the true God. I'm telling you before it happens what's going to happen. It's in the Bible for a reason, to give us assurance we are following the true God. So here, this is at the school. Now, we wouldn't have had this group of people had it not been for the carnival. So we have, I think they said 7 churches gathered here, camped out for several days. This is one of those things Brad said, you go when you're told to go. We didn't know this was going to happen. I'm not sure how Lawless found out about it, but he said, no, we go. We go. So we go, and it was a great time. Yeah, they were celebrating. And here is Pastor Lawless speaking encouragement to this crowd of young people, mostly young people, predominantly young people. And they want to learn. Yeah. So they're dirt floor. Everything's dirt. If you look at these people, they're all clean. I don't know how they do it. If I was that age, I'd have been filthy. It's great, though. So go to the next slide, would you please? So here, it's some more of it, and there you can't see, but Brad's giving encouragement about passing the mantle on to that generation. They are to pick up the mantle and move forward. So this nation is facing a variety of challenges. Many of them we see, you can visually see the economic challenges they're facing. But personally, I think their lack of economic and material goods is being faced with a spiritual growth, or it's being pushed on by a spiritual growth. So what they lack in material things, their spiritual understanding and their spiritual faith is more than overcoming. So I see a lot of good things happening with this country. I see them moving in a godly direction as they build their economy. So that's. I was told not to be too long. All right.
All right. So God was so good to us while we were on this trip, and He is good. And what we saw a lot was how God took problems, and we ran into problems the moment we landed, but He turned those problems into blessings. One of them was that they canceled. We had this carnival, and I want you to think of what we're talking. It's not a carnival with rides. They can't afford rides and things like that. Now, this is more like a Mardi Gras. So they go out, lots of drinking, lots of noise and partying. They're celebrating their culture. All right. It's, I think it was Portuguese. It was a Portuguese.
It originates in Portugal,
yeah.
Brazil, and then so that has merged into what they do.
And so they're celebrating their culture and but a lot of drinking, a lot of the young kids would dress up in costumes. So it's a Mardi Gras versus Halloween. Kind of, but it's a celebration for about 5 days, and they shut down everything. So they shut down the schools, right? So I find out, and the road, yeah, I was gonna get there. So, but the schools first, and so I find out we were planning to go and do puppets, and for me, the children and the puppets, that's a good thing. But the schools were shut down, so no puppets. So we start talking, we're going to do street evangelism instead, and we're going to go out because of the carnival. They've shut down the roads. And so we're going to go out and we're going to hand out tracts. God bless, again, this church had bought many, we had hundreds of tracts, 500 tracts that were written in Portuguese. So that, but to see, this is where God, he takes our problems and he turns them into blessings. So that we had an opportunity to go out and hand out all those tracts and tell everybody, do some us, which is God loves you. All right. But for me, and this is not children, this is actually going out and just, confronting and saying hi to people, maybe patting them on the back. And no, that's not my thing. So it was a huge stepping out of my comfort zone to be able to do that. But the blessings, and you could go on one more. All right. The blessing, freeze that a moment. The blessings was just overwhelming. And it was like, and God took a problem and turned it into a blessing. As we were out, the roads are all, these are the main roads, and here, and freeze that. This is the main road going down into the capital city of Bissau. And it's shut down. And this is what there were just hundreds of people. They came out to celebrate the carnival and have a good time with what they were doing. And so, but we were able to get out and hand out all the tracts and to just tell them that God loves them. And for me, that was a big stepping point for me. And I enjoyed that. Let's see here. One of the main blessings that we had was that the roads were all closed. You saw the people were out there. And a problem we had was we were small this time. We lost half our team. And that was very hard. But even that, we only had one vehicle that we had to worry about. Because of the one vehicle, we were able to get out. And even though the roads were closed, we were able to make it around and get through. And Lawless took a couple chances to get us to the conferences at night. In fact, he had to bribe the police a couple times. And we prayed. The one night we actually sent out to you all to pray because if he had gotten caught, he could have gotten into trouble. All right. But because there was only one vehicle, we were able to get, and God, again, working a problem, roads closed, into a blessing. Sorry, keep the mic up at my face. I don't want to do that. But anyways, but it was another where God took a problem and turned it into a blessing. We were able to get to the conference every night that they held the conference because of that. And if we had had to have more than one car, we probably wouldn't have gone to as many places, or half the team would not have been able to go and get the blessings that we got at the conferences. So God he turned our problems into blessings. All right. And then one other thing, with the schools closed, we decided to do street evangelism. We spent the one time, went out and handed out the tracts. But then we got together we had seen a video of this very special. Here's the beginning. This is what we started with. So Pastor Brad talked about salvation, and Pastor Lawless interpreted for the people. And we just went out onto a street. And because of Carnival, the church that we were doing took all their speakers and stuff because it was music and festival and playing all around. And so they didn't have speakers. So they had to rent speakers. But because they rented speakers, we had these speakers for the last night when we went just onto the street, found a place to set up, and Brad talked about the gospel message. Kara and I, actually in paint and using blue light, we painted the gospel message as he talked about it. Keith was handing out tracts. And yeah. And this is what we ended up with at the end. And again, God took a problem, had to rent speakers, but we were able to use them. And we had 16 people, including kids, come to the Lord that night because of that. And again, If it hadn't been for Carnival, don't know whether we could have gone. We had the time to be able to get it together, get everything made, and then had the time to go out and do it. So God is so good. He takes our problems and turns them into blessings every time.
You see all these pictures that we've been watching? Miss Kara was diligent to take a whole lot of pictures, and great pictures.
And she's a good photographer.
Thank you, Kara.
So we're going to get ready for communion. And what I thought I'd do before we actually take communion, go back to that picture with the team standing in front of the glow paint. It's in, watch this. I don't know where it's at. Do we have it? That one's not in there. Perfect. We'll go back to the one in Melanie's thing. You know which one I'm talking about? Here we go. So this was the gospel we presented. And before we take communion, we're going to present the gospel this morning for you to hear. Because we need to remember what this is all about. And if you looked at the first picture, this was how the canvas started. The canvas started with showing the earth. And I asked the crowd, and there was a number of people around. I said, what's the most important thing that God made on the earth? Because God made everything. He made the earth. He made the animals. He made the plants. He made everything on the earth. And of course, the most important thing that God made was you. God made you. Well, it's two in Portuguese. It's God made you. That has a soul, that has an eternity, it has a destination. And so there are certain things that man's looking for. And this is the presentation we would have given. There would have been a number of things that man is looking for. The first thing is love, amor. Man is looking for love. Something to show us love, but also something to love. But instead of finding love, we find loneliness. And we try to fill that loneliness with other things in life, don't we? We try to fill loneliness with maybe drugs or alcohol or unhealthy relationships. We try to fill loneliness with all kinds of things in life. But the next thing that man is looking for is hope. That's not up there because you can't see it in the glow. But man is looking for hope. Hope that I'm going to find a better job. Hope that I'm going to have a good wife. Hope that my kids are going to turn out all right. Hope that the economy is going to get better. Hope that, there's all kinds of things we're looking for with hope. But instead of finding hope, we find fear. And fear takes over, and fear becomes the dominant thing. And instead of being hopeful, we find we're living in fear of things. We're living in fear that the world's going to get worse. We're going to live in fear that we're going to lose our job. We live in fear that our marriage isn't going to. And we respond to life instead of with hope. We find fear. We respond in fear. The other thing that we're looking for is we're looking for peace. We all want peace. We all want a time when, we just want a time when we wouldn't be fighting, when our marriages would be getting along, when our kids would not be so rambunctious and argumentative. We look for peace in our jobs. We look for peace in all these things. And instead of finding peace, we find conflict. And then we are also looking for forgiveness. We're looking for relief from the guilt of our sin. And instead of finding forgiveness, all we find is guilt. And the guilt leads on to more fear. The guilt adds on to more loneliness. The guilt adds on to more replacement of things that we want, that God wants to give us, but we can't find. And so what do is we start building up ways to reach God. We try to build up things to reach God. Man-made things, religion, good works. We try to build up, doing things that'll help. Idolatry. But no matter how hard we try, we can't reach God. So what does God do? God sent his son Jesus. And and that's where we build in the cross. God says man cannot find hope. He cannot find love. He cannot find forgiveness. He cannot find peace without me. And so he sent his son Jesus, who came and he displayed all of these things perfectly, did he not? Jesus lived the perfect life. And he showed us where we could find hope and love and forgiveness and peace. And it wasn't through the things of the world, but it was through God himself. But these things created a barrier in our lives. The guilt, the shame, the war, the conflict, the sickness. Everything becomes a barrier. And so Jesus died on the cross. Jesus shed his blood, the perfect Son of God, shed his blood on the cross so that we could live eternally with God. And no longer would there be a barrier between man and God, but that God came down and crossed the barrier for us. Now, the two hearts you see here, one heart represents the person who says, well, I don't need Jesus. I don't need God. I've never done anything that bad. I've never robbed a bank. I've never killed anybody. I'm generally a good person. I think I do more good things than bad things in life. And so they never received the gift that God gave them. The other heart, if you can't see it or it's not on that picture, there's a cross in the middle of the heart. That's the person that says, I received the forgiveness of Christ. And so to receive that forgiveness, you have to do two things. You have to believe, accreditar. You have to believe that Jesus did these things. You have to believe that God sent his son, Jesus, as the perfect sacrifice. You have to believe that you are a sinner in need of salvation. And then you also have to receive, resebar. And to receive Jesus means that you take him into your life. And I use this illustration that you go to the doctor and you receive a diagnosis from the doctor. That's the worst diagnosis you could receive. And the doctor says, you're going to die. But I have good news. If you take this medicine that I have for you, you will live. And so you take the bottle of medicine and you go home and you set it on your kitchen counter and you never take the medicine. That's the person that never receives Jesus into their life and never believes. They never, you know it, you know the facts, you know the information, but you haven't taken in him to be the Lord of your life. And it's just as good as taking medicine from the doctor and setting it on the counter and never doing anything with the medicine. The medicine doesn't help you if it's sitting on the counter. Also, Jesus and the forgiveness of Jesus doesn't help you unless you take it into your life and make him the Lord of your life. And that's why we celebrate communion. You see, by simply praying to God and receiving Jesus, admitting you're a sinner, and taking the forgiveness of Jesus into your life and turning away from sin. The Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And that the wages of sin is death. Not only death physically, but death eternally. See, God doesn't send anybody to hell. God saves people from hell. God made the perfect way for salvation by receiving Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior.